I don't know who needs to hear this, but food banks literally should not exist. Food banks originated in the 1960s and the 1970s and were actually started by churches, not the government. Food banks existed because of the failings of capitalism. The free market did not create enough jobs, nor did it create enough prosperity for everybody to be able to afford the food they needed to put on their table. So you can't simultaneously call that a failure of government and saying that the free market is the solution. Because the free market solution would be to swoop in and provide goods at a low enough price that anybody would be able to afford it. But in unfettered late-stage capitalism, it doesn't actually provide any prosperity to the business to provide food to people if they can't afford it at egregious prices. Grocery company makes more money by allowing people to starve. So when we look at it from the American or Canadian perspective, food banks literally should not exist. Because in the wealthiest nations in the world with a free market economic system, either the free market should be creating a solution to the problem, or the government should otherwise be creating solutions to allow for people to live and not die of starvation. But the problem is there's so many people with a mentality like this that literally don't understand what a food bank is, why they started, and how it's an example of the failing of our current economic system. And those people will turn around and say tax is bad, and then complain that their free healthcare isn't providing them service fast enough. And the wild thing is we can connect all the dots for these people, but it's not going to make a difference. But what is important is talking to your friends and your family, talking to those who are close to you, and letting them understand that food banks really shouldn't exist. Because once you fundamentally understand that food banks are a failure of our system, we can start to move past the idea that food banks are a crutch that should be used, and instead we can look towards a solution where we can have an ideal society where food banks do not exist.